Park pass. We're about to use our park pass. We're about to use our park pass, and it's gonna save us big. It's $20 otherwise, guys. Hey adventurers! Today it's time for another exciting adventure at Crater Lake National Park. I'm so excited. Let's get going. Leave it to me to pick a weekend where they're doing a special event. They're doing a biking event, so there are literally thousands of bicyclers kind of throughout the park, and they have the right of way because it's a special event. This could get interesting. Difficult to find parking. Look at this, guys. We finally made it to the first stop here at Crater Lake, where we're going to look at the Watchman's Overlook, and I'm really excited. It's really crowded today though, so we're going to take in our views and then move on so someone else can take in a view as well. Blue water, it's amazing. Now, perhaps one of the coolest things is there is actually a rim trail where, like at the Grand Canyon, you can walk along the entire rim of the lake, which is pretty amazing. And there's actually an entry point right here that we can go over to if we wanted to start that. However, we have a lot of ground to cover, so rim trail, not today. Maybe we'll pick it up at a different checkpoint though and walk a little bit. Who knows? I just have to see all of the different vantage points. I see a fire tower at the very top. I doubt they'll let us go to that though. Look guys, there's already snow up here. This is why this pass closes so early usually. Snow. They get up to 50 feet each snow season. Let's get back in the car and allow somebody else to park, because this viewpoint is something that everyone should be able to check out. And even though I'm enjoying it, I don't want to hinder somebody else's fun. Let's get in the car and figure out how to turn around and go that way. So many pull-offs, so many views. And I wanted to check out to see what this side looked like. Now, the other side is where the Crater Lake actually is. But this is a gorgeous vantage of everything that is not included in the lake. So the forest and the color changing and the mountains, it's beautiful. And instead of talking about it, let me just show you. This is where we're standing, guys. Living life on the edge. Not to be excited when there's so much amazing stuff going on around you. So these pull-offs are going to be our best friend on this trip for all the different vantage points and seeing what's going on. It's also going to allow us to let some of the traffic of the bicyclers pass through because they're having a competition. one whole rim is closed because of this. So we're gonna definitely take in our views on this rim since we can't go to the other one until that's over, which is gonna be way, way late into the evening. But gorgeous, isn't it? Like it almost looks like it gradiates downward, but that's just the mountains in the distance. Okay, look guys, right here, this is a stop that talks about how this is considered to be the Ring of Fire, and it shows us where we are right here at Crater. It also has a couple of other points marked here that are also volcanic, and so we can look here and then we can go look at the pano here and find these places. So Union Peak is this right here. This one that has snow on top of it is Mount McLaughlin. And then way over here, it's really hard to see it, and I don't think the video picks it up, but there's Mount Shasta. Now, if we remember from Mount St. Helens, the explosion that happened that created Crater Lake was one of the largest in all of the ranges. But all of these others have at some point in time been active, although not in a really long time. So I like little signs like that. It helps me kind of put all the pieces together. Another viewpoint along the rim trail, this time of the lake again. So this one is a little bit less crowded, and I thought it was a perfect time to get the camera out and take some close-ups of a few things that I noticed on the other side. It's gorgeous, guys. Like, there is no denying that this is a beautiful location, and with national forests surrounding it everywhere, it's just an impeccable place to visit and see the amazing wonder that is nature. I don't feel like the tone of the blue fully translates on the video. It's so bright. It's hard to describe the color. If you were to take the brightest, most beautiful, darker shade of blue in the Crayola box, it wouldn't do this justice. It's amazing. And then if you'll notice, as you get closer to the shoreline, there's a breakup of the color, and it turns into like the cerulean color. Okay, let's press on. There are so many more viewpoints to check out, and yeah. Thought this was a great time to get out our map and see where we will and will not be able to go. So we came in here and they told us that this entire side of the loop is closed until 6 p.m. So we're going along this side right here, and our hope is to get to the Rim Village. The Rim Village is going to have the visitor center so we can learn more about where we are and the location in general. Now, what we've been looking at so far, we've seen Wizard's Island. Wizard's Island is the jutting out island in the middle that we've seen from both of our overlooks now. What we haven't been able to see are these pieces right here. Aquarium cone is 486 feet high, but is located way below the surface. So the deepest point in the lake is 1,943 feet deep. So that is kind of insane. I also like to reference the map because it always has a few facts about the location that you're visiting. And I think that this is really important for understanding the full magnitude of how Crater Lake was formed. So definitely pick one of these up and pay attention to it. Don't just throw it in your seat and go along for the drive. Okay, again, this is Wizard Island right here. And then the distance from side to side at the furthest point is 6.02 miles. You are the cutest. Okay guys, this was the first photo of Crater Lake, and as you can see, if you look straight up, this was the first vantage point that they made of this amazing place. Look at him, guys. super fun experience, and the views in the background can only add to it. But the chipmunks were so cute. Along this rim is also the Rim Village and gift shop. So I thought, what better way to stop off and maybe grab a cup of coffee, possibly find a postcard, than to check this location out. Now again, very packed here today. I don't think that it's typical for it to be quite this overwhelming, but it's a lot today. I love how soft these are. This area used to be a parking lot, but now they've tried to bring back some of the nature. And so since 2005, they've been fostering growth in this area. So they ask you to stay on the sidewalk so that things can have a chance. I think that's great. From where we were parked, we could have easily walked over here, but I wasn't sure how close the visitor center was to where we were. Turns out it's only a couple hundred yards. Go figure, I just had to get myself a new parking place for no good reason. So that visitor center has mostly just merch, and I got my postcards, I got my sticker that I've been wanting to get, and they told me where I could find the main visitor center that's going to have our video and all of the explanations of what's going on in front of us. But the views at this one are impeccable. Something I've learned on all of these different adventures I've gone on is if you don't stop off at every stop, you don't get the full picture. So even though this visitor center and the lodge area don't really provide a ton of information for somebody like myself, you do get little tidbits that help you piece things together. It's kind of like the pull-offs. The first photo, if we wouldn't have stopped there, we would have never known that. So take your time, kind of stop whenever you can, and make sure that you read all of the signs that are provided. First, what about accommodations? If you are coming to Crater Lake, the accommodations here are very sparse. So if you're wanting to stay in the park, you have the Crater Lake Lodge. Now the Crater Lake Lodge is located in this little complex right here, and you can easily access the trolley stops from here, as well as the cafe and a variety of other different amenities just by staying in this. It's an overlook, guys. Wow. You can really see the blue from here. It's completely unimpaired by the extra sunlight, and oh my goodness, the viewpoint is spectacular. I could explain to you how breathtaking this really is. The blue comes across a lot better now that I'm standing here in the shade, but words cannot express the beauty. So what can you expect from accommodation here at the lodge? Well, I can already tell you the views that don't quit. There are a series of rockers and chaise lounges out here for you to check out the views and just relax and enjoy yourself. And well, it looks like a rustic lodge. Okay guys, while I'm sitting here relaxing in this wonderfully warm, cozy lodge, let me tell you a little bit about it. Typically, the season books out 6 months to a year in advance. With that being said, there are some cancellations, so don't be afraid to at least ask if you're in the area. They have everything from studio-size rooms up to 2-story lofts. Now these have views of both sides, so you can see the valley and the lake, and you can take advantage of all the different amenities here, no matter what kind of booking that you have. These areas are so beautiful, and I can only imagine when the snow comes and there's snow in the distance, coming and cozying up next to these fireplaces would be phenomenal. Now, that view is gonna cost you. What is it gonna cost you? In excess of $200 a night. But sometimes it's worth it, right? Just another tip to anyone who might be electronically dependent. The only place in the park with AT&T thus far I've had signal is in this area. So within a 300-yard radius of the lodge, good signal with AT&T. Otherwise, no service at all. Can we do? We've gone along the western rim. The eastern rim is completely closed. And while I am very, very pleased that people are getting out and being active, it comes at a vast expense of everyone else. It's not really fair to everyone who comes to the park and pays admission that they can't access all of the points of the park during an otherwise still open and available time of year. And I know that this probably generates a lot of funds and a lot of awareness, but for all of us people who aren't bikers, a little disappointing. I've talked to numerous others who feel the same way, and while this isn't one of those places I can just come at any point in time so that I can see all of it, I planned specifically to come before they close the rim, and this is what happens. Man. I guess this is a good time though to go over a few facts about Crater Lake. Crater Lake is the deepest lake in the United States. It is also the freshest water in the world. It holds a current record of 143 feet below the surface for visibility, and it's just pretty impressive. The lake itself does not get any water from rivers or overflow. It is completely a snow melt facility, and no water escapes except through minor seepage. So that's what keeps the water nice and blue and clean, and I think that that's just absolutely astonishing. I've never seen anything so blue in my life, like ever. Be able to do the eastern rim, but if you drive out like you're going to Klamath Falls, which is a considerable drive, there are a few places that we can stop off and see some of the wonders that are the Crater Lake experience. Right now I'm looking at fossilized steam. What? Like the gas is fossilized? How? Okay, so here's the basics of how it works. You have your eruption. The water starts to escape. And then out of the ashes comes what we're about to look at. This is what fossilized steam looks like, guys. So it pushes up through the ashes, and as it does, it forms these deposits which create these really amazing looking cones. Look, there's even one over here by itself. Now I have to say, this is the first time I've ever heard of fossilized steam, but it's really interesting to see. It almost looks like some of the formations that we've seen along some of our hikes that have been caused by weathering and erosion. But this is like coming up from the ground. I don't even know how to describe. Now we're out of the mountains and in this large flatland area. This might not seem like a perfect place for a viewpoint, but oh, are you wrong? There is a sign that actually shows us where the volcano actually was in this now somewhat uneventful, place. So let me show you. Well, as you can see here, Mount Mazama was massive. It was 12,000 feet tall, and then it just became nothing. So if you look at the landscape kind of around it, we can see how it kind of rolls, and then we can compare that up here to where the landscape kind of rolls. That means that Mount Mazama used to tower about here, like way high above anything that's in this area. 12,000 feet. Now something else I thought was pretty interesting is where we're standing is actually about the same elevation as the bottom of Crater Lake. So can you imagine, we're at the bottom of the lake right now, and these mountains right here, the lake actually goes almost all the way to the top of these low-lying mountains. That's insane! Naturally, this probably wouldn't have been the best place to be during the volcano, and it was completely wiped out and also looked like the surface of, well, the moon basically. It's taken a long time just to get to this point of vegetation growing again, and that was over 7,000 years ago.